Look, if you're the guy who's been at this for a year, maybe two, you've passed challenges, you've hit some nice winners, and you've had some green days, but somehow you're still basically break even. You know what to do, but you just can't seem to do it consistently. I get it. The trader you're about to hear from was in that exact same spot 6 months ago. And here's what changed for him. He stopped jumping from system to system, trying this Discord strategy over here, then that guy's YouTube method, then something entirely different the next month, never actually mastering anything. He focused specifically on mastering the VWAP wave system strategy. And look, it can be pretty simple. 4 core setups. That's it. You see a price discovery continuation, maybe a fade value or extremes, or the VWAP bounce. You take the trade. No more sitting there going, maybe I'll just wait for one more confirmation. This over-analysis was paralyzing his trades. And now, after a very successful inaugural Drysdale Inner Circle, we're reopening the doors for the Drysdale Inner Circle 2.0. This is where I go deep into everything. Some things I just can't go deep enough on premium or on live trading. In the Inner Circle, nothing is held back, and we go very deep on different topics every week. Plus, I'm watching your trades, reviewing your trade journal, and also calling you out when I seeing you fall back into old behaviors. This is a small group environment, and you can't hide. So if you're serious about making 2026 your breakout year, I'd encourage you to join the waitlist now. The waitlist application link is in the description of this video, and I'm excited to introduce you to Michael. So let's sit back and listen to his story. All right, everybody, I'm sitting down today with Michael Schaefer. We're going to be talking about his trading journey, in particular, the last 3 or 4 months where he's been with our group and been working with us in the Inner Circle. He's been an excellent addition to not just the community. He is now a moderator in our group, always contributing, always helping, very professional level insights. And it's been really exciting to watch him grow over the last couple of months and see him really flourish and find new levels in day trading. I know he comes from a bit of a options background, and he wanted to add a little bit of intraday trading to balance out what he was doing on the longer time frames with that. So I'm excited to introduce you to everybody out there. Michael, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you so much, Chris. Looking forward to being here and having this conversation.
Awesome. So let's just get started. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then a little bit about how your trading journey started.
Yeah, for sure. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Been here about 10 years or so. I have a wife and a daughter and a soon-to-be son-in-law. So my daughter's getting married here in about 2 months. And so we're in the middle of wedding planning and all of that kind of stuff. But I've been a pastor my entire life. My wife and I met in Bible college, and we've been in some form of ministry for the last 20 some odd years now. And I've always also been a huge fan of the markets. So for probably the last 15, 16 years, I have studied the markets. I've traded virtually everything out there that you can trade, stocks, options, futures, forex, crypto. Like I've dabbled in all of it. Uh, and really have settled in and found my sweet spot to be in options trading. And so that's where the majority of my time and my capital goes to is swing trading, short-term options, 10 to 15 day hold time kind of a thing. But also really, really loved and am intrigued by futures and doing some day trading and wanted to really get back into that. I did it several years ago and found moderate success with it, but then just the hectic lifestyle of being a pastor didn't allow me to, sit in front of a screen all day, and so I kind of got away from the futures trading. But and now at a season in my life and in my career where I have a couple hours in the morning, early morning time, where I can do some more of this. Plus, I've got a wedding to pay for, so like I need to find some additional ways to help make up for that and to do that. And so I thought futures was a great way to do that, and so began watching, TikToks and YouTube videos on it. And I've used in my own trading have used the VWAP for probably 18 months or a little bit better than that. And so I was looking for something that aligned with that because it made sense to me, and came across the Drysdale Trading Group and began watching your videos so that was my introduction to you and thought, man, this makes sense. I like this guy. I like the way he packages everything, the way he presents it. It just it clicks. It resonates with me. So I'm going to learn more about that. And so I blocked every other, futures trading educator out there from all socials, and I only looked at Chris Drysdale stuff. I'm just kidding. But but yeah, I did. I really did zoom in on this and join the Discord for the 7 free day uh, uh, trial, and thought, you know what, this is too good to pass up on. So became a member and have been ever since. So
Yeah, love it. And you do some educating on your own. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do on the side?
yeah, for sure. So I run a business as part of our organization called Stocks for Pastors, where I teach Christian leaders how to do the options type of trading that I do. And so we've got a small community there where I'll get to work one-on-one and in a group setting with others who are learning how to swing trade options using a lot of the VWAP stuff. And so yeah, that we've been doing that for see, I started that in 2021, January of 2021. So we're five years old now, and that's going really, really well.
Yeah, awesome. And I love how I've seen, a lot of your material, and I really appreciate your messaging out there, how you take a responsible approach to trading because, a lot of the people out there is a stigma around intraday trading or short-term
Yeah.
trading, that it may be gambling or what have you. So I think some people do struggle with the idea, does this align with my values? And without getting into a really deep conversation, I think people would be interested just to hear from you what your take on that
Yeah,
is.
yeah, absolutely. And I get the messages on my social stuff from trolls all the time about how, you're a pastor, you can't trade and you shouldn't be in the stock market at all, and all that kind of nonsense. But you just kind of have to let that stuff roll off of you. But the truth is, as a faith-based person, someone who holds the Bible in very high regard, and I live my life by the messaging of the Bible has a lot to say about finances and about how we manage money well. It has a ton to say. That was Jesus's favorite topic to talk about, was money and how we manage money, and what it can do to us. And so, yes, the love of money is the root of all evil, but money itself is not the root of all evil. The Bible wants us to handle it well. And I think if we come to the stock market or to futures trading, any kind of investment, risk-oriented endeavor with that mindset that the Bible teaches, we're in a lot better place. We're not coming at this from I'm going to gamble what I've got and I'm going to try and I'm going to YOLO this and try and make a whole bunch of money real quick. That's not a biblical or a faith-based approach. My approach is based on a specific proverb, Proverbs 13:11, which, even if you're not a religious person at all, hopefully you can see the wisdom behind this statement. But Proverbs 13:11 says that money gained hastily will dwindle, but the one who gathers little by little will cause it to increase. And we see that play
Oh,
out
wow.
in all kinds of things, right? Someone wins the lottery. What is it, like 75% of lottery winners are broke within a couple of years? Money that you get real quickly, these windfall amounts of cash that come to you, they go away just as quickly because we haven't disciplined ourselves and learned how to manage it the right way. But if you can be faithful in the little things and start small and execute good discipline and risk management, then you're going to grow it, and over time you're going to amass a good amount of money, and that's a biblical approach. So that's how I would answer that question. Yes, it can be gambling. Anything in the markets can be gambling, but it's a matter. It's not inherently gambling. It's a matter of what you bring to it and what you do with it that makes the difference.
Yeah, love it. I think a lot of people will appreciate that answer, whether they're, Christian or not. I think it's a really well said standpoint, and I appreciate you sharing it with us. So back in September, we launched the Inner Circle for the first time, and
Yeah.
Michael was a pioneering member with us in the first cohort of 25 individuals. And I asked Michael if he would share a little bit of his experience with everybody, just kind of his thoughts on it, what the process was like, what he expected, what happened, and then we'll probably dive a little bit into where we are now.
Yeah, that sounds great. So what I expected from it, and kind of initially, I honestly I filled out the application not very convinced. I probably would have said 20% probability that I want to do this, but I'm going to submit the application anyway just to kind of follow the process and see what it's like. I'm not sold on it yet. But I was still relatively new to the VWAP wave system as a whole. So I was still learning that, which is why I wasn't just all in right off the bat. I'm more of a cautious person by nature and an analytical person by nature, right? So I like to evaluate and study and research and do all of those things. So I wasn't one of the ones who was just like the second you announced it, like I got to be in this, right? Like I wanted to evaluate and to do my due diligence before I did. But as I studied and as I learned more about it, it became more and more clear that this was a very smart move to do to learn this system very, very well. And that's really kind of what I expected going into it was to learn the ins and outs of a system. I'd watched you for a while and how you trade, and you were clearly very successful at what you were doing. And I wanted to learn the details of that. As an educator myself, I know that there's a lot of things that you can't necessarily include in like your even your group coaching, but certainly not in your online courses and the pre-packaged material that you create that gives you a very high level view of the system. But there's tons of minute details within all of that, right? That you just can't fit all of it into a prepackaged course. And so that's what I came into. Like, I want to learn all of those things. I want to get every piece of detail about this so that I can put the whole puzzle together and see the entire picture, learn this system inside and out. And what I found was that was 1,000% true. That we have learned everything there is to know about this system throughout the Inner Circle program, and it's been absolutely fantastic. But we've learned a lot more than that too. Like that was the baseline of, we met the expectation, and then everything else on top of that was gravy, right? Like there's been so much additional stuff to it that I have just found absolutely incredible and just been blown away by it.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a common question I also get because people do join the premium community, which is a great spot. And it's a big leg up for most people to be involved and to trust in one mentor and follow live streams in one system and join a community and participate. So that in and of itself is a big step up for most people. But then that brings them to the next question. Well, okay, now I'm invested in this community. What's the difference between this next step? If I really wanted to take it to another level, what's kind of the difference? And I think you said it a little bit, but we do go into much more detail. It's a 12-week intensive with each week having a very specific focus, and we spend all week really drilling and diving into the details that I often can't go into in a larger group environment or on live trading. So that's my best opportunity to kind of leave all the cards out on the table, so to speak. And that's the best opportunity I can give anybody who really wants to get deep into the weeds of everything that we do. Maybe you could share a little bit about something in particular that you really enjoyed, or a
Yeah.
part one of the weeks that really piqued your interest.
Yeah, well, and I would even take what you said a step further too, and say, maybe one of the most powerful things I got out of the entire program was not just the, learning all those ins and outs, but see, when you get involved in a educational program like this, or a very intensive mentorship program like this, most of the time, what you find or what you're getting is the opportunity to learn a strategy, right, or to learn a system. But what the Drysdale Inner Circle did was give you the opportunity to learn about yourself as a trader, and that is, I think, the most powerful aspect to it. And you sometimes it was almost kind of a maybe an implicit, or you kind of downplayed that side of it, but you gave us tools and practices and drills and things to do that you, when you gave those to us, you didn't say, hey, this is going to test you personally, this is going to test your emotional reaction to things. You just said, hey, here's a drill, do X, Y, and Z. Or I want you to, for your homework this week, I want you to do this practice right here. But then as we did, and I'll be honest, one or two of the drills or homework assignments that you gave us, I remember thinking in the moment, like, this seems a little silly. Like, I'm not sure how this is supposed to help me. I don't see it. I don't see how this helps me get better as a trader. But I'm committed to this. I'm going to follow the process. And so I walked through it and I did everything that was in that you had asked of us. And as I'm doing that, I realized, okay, I've kind of got an emotional response to this drill. Why? I don't I don't know why. Well, like, why am I reacting this way to what I thought was a silly little drill? And then it was like, oh, because this drill is teaching me something about me that I am blind to when it comes to my actual trading. I didn't see that I was doing that. But this drill put a finger on it and said, here's what you're doing. And now I don't do those things. Like,
Mhm.
so those drills and just the way that you have structured the entire inner circle program to be about learning you do learn a system, and you learn the ins and outs of it. But more importantly, I think you learn what you personally as a trader are bringing to the table and what you need to not bring to the table to be successful at it. And so I
Yeah.
think that's been maybe one of the most powerful things for me has been learning. It really points out the blind spots that, by definition, you can't see your own blind spots because you're blind to them. And you have put together something that illuminates those blind spots for us. And I think most of my comrades in the community would agree with that we've talked about that for the last 12 weeks. I didn't know I did this. I didn't know that this was an issue for me. And now I see this, and so I'm working. Not all of us. I don't think any of us have like completely perfected it. And like all our bad trading decisions are gone. We're all excellent traders now.
Yeah.
But it has given us a very clear path of, okay, if you want to be successful for the long term, these are the things you got to eliminate.
Mhm.
And so I think our entire cohort of team members here are doing a very good job of working on those things, me among them. So
Yeah. It was an interesting experience for me too, because we brought a lot of really smart people together in this cohort. A lot of successful, smart, accomplished people in their everyday lives, and we seemingly broke a couple people down pretty good before we attempted to build them back together.
yeah,
And obviously, we're not going to have the chance to interview every single person who is in the inner circle. But some of we spent the last week or two recapping the growth a lot of traders have made in the group. And it's just, I've been overwhelmed by the stories and just the self growth that people have experienced in the program. And, they're bringing that all to this year, and with the understanding that this is a journey that never ends. And, we've decided to continue to support the inner circle, everybody who's in it, with ongoing coaching and support. And there'll be an alumni program. So everybody's been really excited about that. So maybe you could tell us just a little bit about kind of where you were when you started with your trading, what you were doing, and then where you find yourself now. I know you've gotten a payout, and, you've accomplished that first goal under your belt and working towards the next. So,
yeah,
maybe share a little of those details would be wonderful.
yeah, for sure. And I also add, just piggybacking on what you said real quickly. One thing that I can say about this whole program uh, is the excitement level among us as a cohort never diminished. In fact, I would say the excitement level for the future is greater now that we're at the end of the program than it was at the beginning. A lot of times when you start something, it's all full of hope and everybody's, got dreams of, all the big payouts they're going to get and all that kind of stuff. And then that kind of wanes as things go on. This seems to have had the opposite approach. Like, we have built a foundation that has only increased the level of excitement and anticipation for who we are becoming as traders. So kudos to you, Chris, for putting that together that way. But for me personally, as a futures trader, it's a completely different animal than what I'm used to in options trading. And Chris and I have had more than one conversation offline about that. That with futures, you got to be fast, you got to be precise. Your exact entries and exits matter a great deal.
Mm.
Whereas swing trading options, it's a lot more forgiving. When you're putting together an option spread that you want to do something over the next 2 weeks, you're not worried about every single tick, and you're not watching the time and sales, and you're not doing that kind
Mhm.
of stuff to see exactly what it's doing. You can kind of step back a little bit. So I'm coming to it from that approach, and it just sucked me in. And so when I first got back into trading futures, man, I was taking as many quick scalps as I could. I'd take a trade and I'm up $20, and so I'd take that off, and then I'd place another one, and I would do 100 trades or more a day, just real quick scalping, and fell into a lot of boredom type trading. Like,
Mm.
I just need to take a trade here because the price is moving, and so I'm going to try and capture it. And didn't have a real clear system behind it, and it was just throw as much stuff to the wall and see what sticks as you can, right? And so that was one of my problems, just kind of that over trading, a bit of the FOMO kind of stuff, or really more boredom trading out of anything. But my other huge problem that I would have was what I called the win or done trade. So like I would put on a trade and it'd start going against me, and I would just keep adding to it
Mm.
until I've maxed out the size that I can have based on this prop firm, and I'm either going to turn this trade into a winner or I'm going to blow the account. There is no middle ground, and
Mhm.
like you can guess which one happened, right? Like the account gets blown anytime you adopt that
Mhm.
mentality. You're already done.
Yep.
And so coming into this program, I kind of pressed pause. I backed up and said, all right, I'm going to follow this to the T. I'm going to pay attention to the risk management principles that we're learning in this, and we're going to set those in place. I'm going to use automated stops so that I'm not tempted when I'm down, around my max loss limit to average into it and try and make it back. I'm just going to take the loss and be done, and then wait for the next setup. And when you have a system that works, you can have confidence to do that, right? Like I don't feel bad about being down $200 in my account now because I know another setup is coming where I'm going to make some money back, and just over the long term, it's going to work out in my favor, you know?
Mm.
And so those kind of principles began applying those to it, and all of a sudden I started seeing the numbers on my prop firm account going up and going in the right direction to the point that hey, you can take a payout. And so got to that level, and was very happy about that, and still obviously not perfect, and I still blow accounts here and there. But overall, man, we are definitely trending in the right direction. And being you've helped me go from a losing futures trader to a break-even futures trader to a profitable futures trader, and that's been the progression of the journey. And I took a very cautious approach to the whole thing, right? I personally I like to trade the Dow, which is not one that it's not one that you trade a ton. You primarily are in
Not very
Nas
often I have, but not very often. Yeah.
and I like it because it does tend to move a little slower. Like NQ addicts such as yourself look at the Dow and think, man, this is like watching paint dry, right?
Mhm.
But when risk management becomes, a core thing that you want to focus on and you want to work on getting better at, the Dow is a great place to start for that because it can move, but it moves very smoothly, very methodically. And the micro Dows are, 50 cents a tick, and it's just the dollar amount is a lot easier to navigate. So that's why I started with the Dow. And I've been trading for the last 12 weeks, two micros in the Dow or something like that. And so, we're talking very, very small amount of money. So it becomes, when you put those risk management principles in place, it becomes very hard to blow an account that way. when I do blow an account, it's because I give up on those rules, or I think I can outsmart those rules and trade a bigger size,
Mm.
or I've been trading two micros on the Dow, but I'm gonna go ahead and trade one NQ mini and try and make a whole bunch of money real quick, and that just doesn't work out making those kind of switches, right? So I've stayed pretty consistent overall with trading mini or micro Dows, and now that I'm through the program and have got the whole big picture of it and got this great foundation to grow on, I can begin scaling that and trading larger sizes. Getting to the mini DAOs is the next goal. And so I've been the last couple of weeks been trading anywhere between 4 to 6 micros on the DAO, and I'll continue to scale that up until I'm doing one YM instead of an MYM. But
Love it.
yeah, so we're progressing the right way for sure.
Yeah, excellent. So now that we're wrapping up the 12-week curriculum, what happens now is the traders are going to transition into a long-term, somewhat of a mastery series where we take each of the 12 weeks and then we turn it into a month-long focus. So week one will be month one, etc. My question for you, Michael, is there any particular area that you're interested in focusing on in your own trading, whether it be mindset or psychology or better entries or managing your trades, holding longer? Is there anything in particular that you've kind of pinpointed as a focus for you going into this part of the program?
Yes, there is. And it is definitely the holding the winners longer. I want to improve because I do have a tendency to cut the winners short, and I'll we don't necessarily teach that you have to have a 1 to 2 risk reward or 1 to 3 or what, like that's not a key priority for us.
Mhm.
But I think for me implementing something like that to kind of help me hold on to those winners a little bit longer, where I just target the next band, the VWAP band, or the next structural level, and I hold on to that for that length of time and just force myself to not click that exit now button.
Mhm.
That's the primary focus for me. I love all the mindset stuff that we've done. The journaling stuff has been huge. That's been a game changer. Tedious at times, but definitely a game changer. So sticking with that, continuing to do all of those things, but I think the next step for me is that longer one. And man, I've done it a couple of times now where I can hold on to a Dow trade and take 100-point winner. I mean that feels pretty good, right? When you can
Mm.
actually hold on instead of taking a quick 15, 20 point scalp, you let it ride a little bit longer. And if you can get 150 point winner in the Dow, that's pretty nice. And so
Nice
doing
trade.
more of that is the next objective for me and my growth as a trader.
Love it. I have one more question for you. So if you were to go back in time, let's go back to September of last year, and you're getting ready to start or just join the program, what advice would you give yourself back in September going into the program?
I think maybe the advice I would give myself is to zoom out a little bit and see that I came into that program because I was lacking something. If I was already a wildly successful futures trader, I wouldn't have needed the program, right? And so there was a gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. And making that gap doesn't just happen overnight. There's a process to getting there. And you have developed that process, and you are showing us that process. And so I would say trust the process.
Mm.
Whatever it is that the program says, whatever our homework is, whatever the drill is, whatever the conversation, wherever the conversation goes, trust it and follow it and just say, you know what, I'm committed to this. I'm gonna do what the process says. I'm gonna follow Chris's instruction. And when he says, put more details in your trading journal, I'm going to put more details in my trading journal. I'm not going to say, well, I don't need to put that in there because I already know what I mean. No, write it out and follow the process and I think that would accelerate the growth tremendously. And so yeah, it's
I love that.
always going to be a process, but you can find ways to speed up that process too, and it comes by simply trusting the process.
Mm. I mean, if I were to give one answer, Michael, guys, I didn't tell Michael to say this, but if there were one piece of advice I would probably give to anybody, it would be something similar. Be open to suggestion, right? Because my greatest successes and anything I've ever done have come on the other end of listening to somebody who knew better about it than I did, right?
Yeah.
We all start at ground zero. And, I didn't get to where I am by not listening to somebody else. And I don't expect anybody else to reinvent the wheel either. Now, there is a big part of this program where we define our personal edge. There's a lot of customization that takes place.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that traders need to play into their strengths, and that takes its own course of action, right? And not everybody is expected to trade like me or read the market like me. You're given a framework, and the coursework and the program is essentially about you building yourself into a trader with edge, a trader who can trade consistently. And it's done so in an environment where you're supported, there's guide rails, and there's direction. So that's essentially spot on. I love it, Michael. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I think people out there are going to love this video. You can join Michael with us. He's a regular in the community. He's a part of the moderation team. He's in the Inner Circle alumni. So anybody who's in the program, there will be a mixing eventually of alumni and new cohorts where you guys will be able to trade and work together somewhere during that path. So any parting words before we wrap it up here today, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you, Chris, for putting together the incredible community that you have, and to listeners who may be contemplating Inner Circle, should I do it? Should I not? Is it worth it? Is it not? I would say 1,000% worth it. What you get in that community, and then after the program ends, like he's already mentioned, that we have this alumni program that it just continues its ongoing learning. Man, this was a no-brainer once all the cards are out there and all the information that was needed to go into that decision that was there. This is absolutely something that I would encourage anyone who really wants to become a successful trader to pay attention to and to become a part of, because it's going to make a difference. I don't think there's a single person in our inaugural cohort who would say that it hasn't made a significant improvement in the way that they trade, and so that just speaks volumes in itself. And so definitely check it out. Be a part of this with us. Would love to have you join us.
Absolutely. Plus, you get to hang out with guys like us.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks so much, Michael.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right. So you just heard from Michael Schaefer. 6 months ago, he was stuck in the same place a lot of you are right now. He knew of the setups, and he also had some green days, but he just couldn't string it together. He'd have a great green week or even two, and then give it all back in one bad session, over and over. Does this sound familiar? Now he's finally locking in some payouts. And here's what changed. He focused on learning the VWAP wave system and had someone actually hold him accountable to it. Look, you've probably seen VWAP content on YouTube. You might be in the free Discord, but here's what's different about the Inner Circle. You get the complete system, and we go deep on execution and trader mindset. Nothing is held back. Plus, I'm going to be reviewing your trades so I can personally catch your revenge trading, the hesitation, and oftentimes patterns that you can't see yourself. And you get direct Telegram access to me, not some massive Discord where nobody knows your name. When you just had a bad revenge trade session, you have somebody that you can reach out to. We are reopening the Drysdale Inner Circle January 6th. I'm capping it at 25 traders, maybe a little more. but that's it. Because I literally can't give you that type of attention if there's hundreds of people in it. So if you're done being a break-even trader and ready to start locking in some consistent payouts in 2026, I'd encourage you to join the waitlist. It's going to be the first link in the description of this video, and the waitlist gets first access when the doors open.